Have you ever gotten angry over something very small? A comment from a coworker, a text message left unanswered, a strange look from a stranger on the street, and in just a few seconds, your entire day was ruined. You knew it wasn't worth it. You knew you were overreacting, but you couldn't stop. That feeling isn't weakness. It's the feeling of someone who hasn't yet learned how to master their own mind. And if that's where you are today, there's someone who lived almost 2,000 years ago in a role nobody would expect, who wrote pages of private notes just to teach himself how to calm down. He wasn't a monk. He wasn't a philosopher. He was the most powerful emperor in the world at that time, and his little notebook today we call it Meditations. Marcus Aurelius was the emperor of the Roman Empire from 161 to 180 AD. He ruled over a vast territory, commanded hundreds of thousands of soldiers, faced plague, war, betrayal, and even the loss of his own children. In that position, he could have done anything he wanted, but what he wanted was to become master of himself. Every night, after a long day on the battlefield or at court, he would take out a small notebook and write, not for anyone to read, not to be published, just for himself as a daily reminder. Those pages were later discovered and called Meditations. It's one of the most alive philosophical texts ever written, because it isn't theory. It's a real person really struggling with very real worries. The book comes from a school of philosophy called Stoicism, and the heart of Stoicism revolves around just one idea. There are things you can control and things you cannot. Peace begins the moment you learn to tell those two apart. Stop for a minute and think about this. How much energy have you spent on things you cannot control? The weather, traffic, what people say behind your back, the economy, the past, your boss's mood, your partner's emotions. The future 10 years from now, you could worry your entire life, and not a single one of those things would change because you worried. Marcus knew this well. He was the emperor. If anyone should have felt in control of everything, it was him. But he wrote in his notebook that even he could only control one thing: how he reacted to what happened. Not the event itself, the reaction. And here's what's strange. Reaction is where your entire life gets decided. Someone who loses their job can collapse for 3 months or start a new business. A broken relationship can make you close your heart for 10 years or help you understand yourself more deeply than ever before. The events are the same, but the reactions are different, and two completely different lives emerge from the same starting point. Marcus had an exercise he repeated many times in the book. When something happens, don't rush to call it good or bad. See it exactly as it is. It's just an event. It's just rain falling. It's just a broken car. It's just an unpleasant email. Negative emotions don't come from the event. They come from the story you tell yourself about the event. And you are the only one writing that story. He also taught a technique called the view from above. When you're caught up in a worry, imagine yourself looking down at yourself from high above, higher still. So high you can see the entire city, the whole country, the planet spinning in space. From that height, is your problem still as big as it felt before? It doesn't disappear, but you start to see it at its true size. Another lesson, a bit heavier, but important. Marcus kept reminding himself that life is short. He called it Memento Mori, remember that you will die. It sounds harsh, but actually, this is one of the most liberating ideas ever written. When you truly understand that your time is limited, you stop arguing with the people you love over small things. You call your mother more. You stop postponing your dreams. You stop fearing the criticism of people whose names you won't even remember in 5 years. Marcus wasn't afraid of death. He was afraid of a life not properly lived. And he wrote that a wise person doesn't wait until their final day to start being kind to themselves and others. They live as if today is already enough. So from the notebook of an emperor nearly 2,000 years ago, what can you take home for life today? Just 3 things, and they're enough to change how you begin each day. First, before reacting to anything, ask one question. Is this something I can control? If yes, act. If no, let it go. Worrying doesn't give you control over what you can't control. It only makes you more tired while life unfolds exactly as it would have anyway. Second, practice writing each night. It doesn't need to be beautiful. It doesn't need to be long. Just a few lines like Marcus did. What upset me today? How did I react? How will I react differently next time? Do just this for 30 days, and you'll notice something strange. Your mind begins to slow down. Impulsive reactions fade. You have space between the event and the reaction, and in that space there is freedom. Third, every morning when you wake up, remind yourself of one simple thing. Today I will meet people who are impatient, selfish, ungrateful, and arrogant. They are that way because they haven't yet learned what I'm learning. I won't let them take my peace. This is Marcus's famous opening line in the book. It isn't pessimism, it's preparation. When you know the storms are coming, they can't knock you out of yourself. You don't need to be an emperor. You don't need to finish the whole book in a week. You only need today to pick one of those three things and try it once. And if it calms you even a little, then the philosophy of Marcus Aurelius has begun to live again in you. 2,000 years don't age truly deep teachings. If this video touched you, leave a comment sharing one thing you can't control but is wearing you down. Just writing it out already starts to lighten it. Subscribe to Beyond the Mind if you want to go deeper with me into books that change the way we see life. Thank you for being here, for giving me this rare slice of your time, and I'll see you in the next book.